What up folks, Trev TCG here with a very sweet deck. Izzet Chandra combo. The key card here, the kind of card the deck's built around is Chandra, Hope's Beacon. Kind of shot into the forefront in Standard at the Pro Tour, and we're using it here in Explorer and Pioneer to do some pretty powerful and somewhat degenerate things sometimes. So it's a 6 mana card, we're using it as the engine to power the deck. 6 mana, comes in on 5 loyalty, but the most important thing here is the static ability. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets. Ability triggers once each turn. I'm going to try it and copy some pretty powerful spells. The other abilities, super versatile. +2, add 2 mana in any combination of colours. See, it comes down with 6 mana, you can get some mana back, kill something, do something else. +1 exile top 5 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from among those exile cards. Again, until the end of your next turn. So if you've hit counter spells, if you've hit spells that you can't afford to play straight away, you can wait till later. Even if the Chandra dies, you'll still be able to cast them in your next turn. And then lastly, -X deals X damage to each of up to 2 targets. Obviously, it comes in on 5, so you can immediately say, oh, okay, I'm going to spend 6 mana and then -5 to do 5 damage to 2 things, kill a shield, dread, something else maybe, if you need to in a tough spot. But hey, super powerful, and that static ability is what we're really trying to build around. So let's kind of go through things starting at 1. And my voice is a little shot, so apologies for that. But we'll go through the deck and then hop into some ranked games. So interaction at 1, we've got 4 copies of Fiery Impulse, which is very efficient removal spell, a ton of instant sorceries, like pretty much the entire deck other than lands, and the Chandras. So getting spell mastery very easy, just cheap interaction. The nice thing about Fiery Impulse is that 3 damage means that you can kill Greasefang on turn 3 if you can enable spell mastery by then, which is tough, very tough. But hey, 1 mana interaction for Greasefang, hard to come by. 3 copies of Spikefield Hazard, it's a nice one, obviously doubles as a land. We want to get to that 6 mana, so having a lot of lands is nice, and being able to increase our spell density while having lands to play is excellent. Obviously, snipes off a bunch of different things. Versus like mono green, I particularly like Spikefield Hazard because it kills the elves when they have elf starts, and if they don't have an elf start, you can just play it as a land, and you're like, okay, cool, do this as well. Kind of good versus very hard to the deck. And then lastly, 2 copies of Fading Hope, deals with some of the bigger creatures. Obviously, sometimes you get that Scry 1, some good, cheap interaction. At 2, we've got 3 copies of Make Disappear and 2 copies of Negate. Make Disappear is a very efficient 2 mana counter spell. Obviously, you don't really have great ways in this deck, at least in the main order, to trigger the casualty ability if you want to, but it's very efficient at the end of the game, just counters whatever. Negate here, one of the things that these kind of like blue-red style, kind of controlling-ish decks can struggle with is dealing with Planeswalkers. That's super important. Dealing with like the enchantments, for example, out of like Enigmatic Incarnation, Fires, that kind of thing, can be tough, and so Negate's super important there. One of the things that lets this deck work is Divide by 0, and we do have a lesson package in the sideboard, which you can then, again, use alongside Chandra, so we're not just relying on having big instant sorceries in the main deck, which lets you smooth things out quite nicely. Obviously, Divide by 0 just a great tempo spell in general. 2 in a blue, return a spell or a permanent, mana value 1 or greater, so like you can't bounce tokens, lands, that kind of thing. You can also discard and draw sometimes, and occasionally later on in the game you'll find yourself being like, I've got a Chandra in play, well the first one's going to grab you a spell with a learn, and the second one's going to loot you away, and it just works really nicely. Fable the Mirror Breaker, hey. Just incredibly powerful. You have to deal with both sides of it flipped, and you get to loot those cards away. It's just so powerful. The ability of the token to just ramp you is very good, and lets you kind of like start pressuring your opponent in a deck that doesn't really have great ways to do that early. And then we also have at 3 2 copies of Anger of the Gods. Nice thing here, obviously it doubles with Chandra, you can do 6 damage to everything, and that exile ability, really nice, which is actually really efficient versus mono green. You get through like Cavalier of Thorns, and it doesn't get its die effect, same again with the Troll. That normally would just go on a land. Anger of the Gods being able to sweep things up, especially with decks like Convoke just sitting around in the format. Yeah, sure, they might have some 4/4s, but if you just get to Anger of the Gods before they drop them, super easy. And again, with Chandra, you can double and clean things up. At 4, and we do have a few different Behold spells actually. Oh, I say Behold. Foretell spells, I say Behold because that's the one we're looking at. But 3 in a blue, scry 2, draw 2 cards. Again, we've got a few things to do on 2, especially with like some of the early interaction we have. But being able to get these down early and then be able to go, okay, I'm going to play Chandra, tick up, Behold the Multiverse immediately, scry 2, draw 2, scry 2, draw 2. Really powerful, and just a great draw spell in its own right as well. Big Score is one of the cards that kind of makes this deck possible. 4 mana, draw 2, well, obviously discard, and then draw 2, create 2 treasure tokens. Again, it lets you get towards Chandra early, puts you in a position where you can have mana when you've got you're casting the Chandra and having mana to do things with. And then it's obviously really good once the Chandra's in play. Obviously, draw 4, make 4 treasures is super powerful. And then the last other spell we have in the deck is Alrund's Epiphany. 5 blue, Create 2/1/1 bird creature tokens of flying, take an extra turn. No brainer here, this is a great one to copy. Hey, it's got Foretell as well if you want to cheapen it down. But yeah. And that's kind of the plan. I'll go through the sidebox. We do have those lesson spells as well, and then we'll get into some ranked games. If you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. I really, really appreciate it. Tons and tons. I try and find the most interesting Explorer and Pioneer decks. So the lands here, 2 copies of Hold the Storm Giants. Obviously, we're getting to quite large mana. We're going to be able to activate this. 2 islands, 2 mountains, alongside 2 copies of Field of Ruin to help you deal with things like Nykthos, different manlands. Sometimes you can Fiery Impulse some of the manlands. It can be quite tough and just like, hey, I've angered, but they're going to have some stuff lying around and be able to activate like a Den of the Bugbear or something. Having some nicer answers for those is super, super handy, and so having the basics of fetch is good. Otawara, Sakenzan, also 2 utility lands, 4 copies of Riverglow Pathway, 3 Chivalries, 4 Steam Vents, 3 Storm Cloud Coast, so an array of blue-red duels. The sideboard then, and the first thing we should talk about is the lesson package. So Environmental Sciences, 2 mana, search for a basic, reveal it into your hand, gain 2 life. This is a great one for kind of like, as you're playing the game, as you go on curve, you go, alright, I'm going to divide by 0 on turn 3. Untap Environmental Sciences, grab another land, play a land, hold up Counter Magic. Really, really good. Make sure that you get to those like 6 lands you need for Chandra. Teachings of the Archaics is one that people get wrong a lot. 2 and a blue. So, if an opponent has more cards in hand than you, draw 2 cards. So for it to actually work as a divination, your opponent does need to have more cards in hand than you. But hey, casting the Teachings obviously takes that card out of your hand. Then you only get the draw 3 cards instead if they have 4 or more cards in hand than you. Again, that's one. So often I see people grab Teachings, then cast it, and then not be able to actually draw the cards. It's not just a divination if your opponent's not got more cards than you. And then lastly, we've got Mascot Exhibition. 7 mana, create a 2/1 with flying, a 3/2 on the ground, and a 4/4 elemental. The idea here being that we're going to copy the Mascot Exhibition with Chandra Hope's Beacon, make a bunch of tokens, and kill our opponents with them. The rest of the sideboard, kind of fairly standard blue-red fare. Rending Volley, obviously Incredible versus Greasefang, Incredible versus Mono-White Aggro, Angels, Spirits of all varieties, Disdainful Stroke, green decks, some different control decks, and then also things like Yorion, Fires, that kind of thing. Just really efficient counterspell there. Syndiclasm versus aggro decks is a nice one. You can play it for 1 and a red to deal 1 damage to each creature, which is pretty handy versus, like, you've seen a lot of different Gleeful Demolition decks crop up, and if they can't use those tokens straight away and get counters on them with, like, a Spider or something, you can actually play them out here. But hey, if they do, you can play the kicker, get 2 damage to each creature instead. Pretty versatile and can really punish people with it as well. If you play against elves, it's just game over. Mystical Dispute, obviously, one of the pitfalls of this deck is that you do want to resolve Chandra. Right, and you're trying to resolve the 6 mana sorcery speed card, and hey, we need some counter magic for that, so we've got some Mystical Disputes to help push that through versus control decks. And then, again on those lines, we've got some alternate win conditions. So Hullbreaker Horror, obviously Flash can't be countered. When you cast a spell, choose up to 1, return target spell you don't control its owner's hand, or return target land permanent its owner's hand. The ability to just take over the game, and again, versus decks with their own counter spells, is a great way for you to win when you can't just necessarily force 2 Chandra like you would be able to normally. And then along those lines as well, 3 copies of Shard Typhoon. Obviously, if you get it in play, great, but you'll be able to cycle and make threats to pressure your opponent with, so use the spells to let you get a window to be like, alright, cool, now I'm going to like Chandra, hold up Dispute in the gate, and then be you in a good position. But Shard Typhoon, just a card that can take over the game by itself as well, and again, the cycling ability just not being able to be counted is great versus things like Blue-White. That's the deck. Let's hop into some ranked games. Alright, first match here. Okay, cool. I was afraid we'd crash for a second. Good at times. Izzet Chandra combo. This deck is super, super sweet. Chandra is just a really fun card to play with in general, and does some pretty powerful and pretty nuts things. Get another play here. Yeah, my voice is super shot, so bear with me if I have to like mute and cough for a second or something like that. I'll pause the video. This is a little tough. We have Dawn by 0, which can like, hey, learn us into another land, or let us loot things away. We have a Spike that has some early interaction. I am sort of keeping it just on the back of Divide by 0, which is a little worrying. On the play here, I think we can get away with this. Let's get away with this. It's probably not the best way to look at it, but here we are. I'm gonna keep it. We want lands, and that's fine. I'm just gonna leave Mount of the Spitefoot Hazard. Don't need to reveal that we got blue cards yet either. During case our opponent second guesses. We're hedging a little on the Spitefoot Hazard being relevant. Yeah, that's a Warrior Grave. Okay. That's not gone so well. So far. Alright, over 0. I'm just gonna Island. I'm just gonna Foretell this now. If they're playing blue cards and black cards, I do not want to get this Thoughtseize. If they Thoughtseize the Divide, it's a little rough. But like the way the game's going, we're actually going to be able to like get our lands out. We're actually going to be able to play a fairly long game. There is a chance there's Esper Greasefang. That is a consideration. But I think it's more likely to be somebody playing the new combo deck. Which, hey, they have to find a way for us to get a creature. Which I think is fine. You can kind of deal with that. Watery Grave untapped. Interesting. It plays something like Spell Pierce. I'm trying to think like what they're going to try and do with this. Because from their perspective, they're thinking you're just going to like play a tap Spike for Hazard and pass, surely. But they don't know. Watery Grave Thoughtseize. Yeah, like this looks like Spell Pierce mana. Like just in case we draw into something like Fable. I want to play this on Carve Coast so that we can represent 3 mana, because they know that we've got 3 mana cast spells on our deck. So then they have to kind of respect it a little bit. It could just be a cantrip as well. That's fair enough. They know we're not going to be able to pressure them very quickly. Interesting. Interesting choice of island. Respect it. Kaito heavily implies Esper Greasefang. Maybe they're just missing white. Could still not be. Could be like blue black rogues. To be fair. Alright, yeah. So we can't attack this. Is a little unfortunate. Because we could like Sekens it if we have nothing else to do. We have like 3 lands we want to play tapped. They know about the Steam events. I think it's fine to just shock that. We're really building up towards Chandra pretty quickly, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to position to be able to go Chandra Epiphany. I'm gonna shock this and pass, and we'll see if they want to any pressure on.
Thanks. I'll be taking that now.
So they're starting with a plus, which again I feel like really implies Greasefang. Okay, never mind. Bankbuster says rogues. But leading with a plus implies that you're trying to like discard a Parhelion off of it. Which is why I'm thinking that. I'm gonna go ahead and Sekens in here, make some tokens. Another Spiteful Hazard, not necessarily one I want to see. Well, it's a pressure Kaito a bit. We'll see how this goes. A thief. They have 2 mana. So we have the option to double Spitefield Hazard here on the Soaring Thought Thief. I'm thinking about it because we're not playing Chandra for a few turns anyway because we've got all these tap lands. This also draws out that Spell Pierce I was thinking about earlier. They didn't play cantrip, so I think it is one. I mean, actually, it doesn't do that because we can pay, but okay. You turn some cards that weren't really up to much into the cards. If we draw an untapped land, we can maybe just like go for like, alright, we're gonna try and slam Chandra. Now they know a bit more about what's up. Okay, and yeah, we see it is rogues. Somewhat expected. Phase and Thorster, that should get us to 12 cards. Enough cards. What have we gone through? Okay, all our other 3 copies of Chandra. It's pretty tough.
Now, what do we have here?
So I think we can. Oh no. Okay, that's not great. Well, I think this gives them too much of a clock. We'll go ahead and make disappear this. At the minute, if we draw a land and they don't have a counter spell, we can go, okay, play Chandra -2, kill both of these. But now I'm going to take this damage, get down to 9. We're getting a life total in a pretty precarious position.
I know something.
But
you
yeah.
don't know.
This is a rough spawn. Impulse isn't awful. Is that true? It's kind of true.
Ugh, I feel bad for your mentor if that's your attack.
Just milling into our own tap lands. Yeah, another flash creature is rough. Feeling this is like -4 damage. We should, I think, go ahead and do this one, because it also flies. I'll do this now. We're still kind of just hoping for an untap land. Does it cling to dust? We fall to 3.
There's no secret I can't uncover.
Alright. That is fair. That was a pretty sketchy keep, I think. Let's run... these color flyers, but not the black one drop. I think that's fine, honestly. Deals with like Mastermind, that kind of thing as well. I think the shot typhoons are good for ambushing, and then we maybe want to even bring in the Hullbreaker Horror. Some of the other spells we've got here are fairly clunky. We don't really want to be bouncing their creatures to go into the battlefield effects. These Spiteful Houses don't really have good targets. I'm going to cut one of them, maybe 2 of them. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then expensive spells are tough. Very tough. All the spells are pretty cheap, which means Divide by 0 is a little bit worse, but we're relying on them a little bit. The negates don't have great targets, so I think I'm going to cut these, despite them maybe bringing in some extra counter spells. And then, I'm not sure, I'll force through. The thing with the Fairy decks is they don't commit very many creatures to the board, so I'm liable to take out Anger of the Gods, so putting in, keeping in a decent amount of removal. This feels weird, but I think it's correct. Let's send this up like this. We are a little bit more top heavy. Maybe the Hullbreaker Horror is just like, hey, we're gonna get pushed out of the game too quick. Like the double, the black one drop definitely speeds them up a bit. Okay, it's a lot more reasonable. I'm just gonna play this Spiteful House as a land blind, as we need it as our 3rd land. They've mulliganed. We'll see how things go. Right, that's my water bottle. I've been getting smashed over the head by hay fever. Gone super bad this week. For no reason. Fable gone, that is fair. May as well play out the Ottawara, represent both colours. You know we've got a Chandra, and then we've got a big skull, and then we've got Divide by 0. I reckon our Bankbuster is fine. So, I'm going to do this, I go. Even if I don't cast anything, I will Divide by 0 the Bankbuster. I think. So, like, why? Because we need a land. That's why. They spell pierce this, that is totally fine. They're not likely to. And yeah, we just want to get environmental sciences. Okay. Ooh, is that better or worse than playing Fable? Fable draws a counter spell. Maybe this does. I think long term developing more is better. I'm gonna sciences now. I don't want to fall behind on mana so early. If we get to catch a counter spell for this, I think that's fine too. I don't know about this yet. Bankbuster back down. You can threaten to activate now. 3 cards left. Alright, Coast is nice. It stops us getting like. We can even pass and go to big score. I think just trying to make the Fables probably the best thing. And this just forces so much pressure right now. We can't give them free time to sit around and draw cards with the Bankbuster. So I think this is good. The other thing is that they might have boarded out a ton of spot removal. Because obviously we're not playing any actual creatures. So we'll see how many ways they have left. Obviously Drown and Lock doubles. Both things. But hey. I'm going to discard one copy of Chandra here. Pays off as we hit a land. I'm going to combat, try and draw them out to something. Alright. I'm going to attack. We got a treasure, you have to cash that in. We have to start building up mana, because we don't want to cast this on when we have like 6 mana in play. Ideally, we want to cast it with some backup. They're 4 cards now. They're going to draw. Our plan is to big score at the end of their turn. Either draw some interaction or put a bunch of mana into play. Piece of filtering. We'll see how that works out. At the minute, I'm looking to discard Shard Typhoon for that, but we're at a pretty interesting point in the game. Or it might actually just be better to cycle a Shard Typhoon, because we've got pressure in play. Oh man, they can't interact with this one anyway. But then they have to start using, like, if they have to start using Drown and Locks on creatures, we're gonna flip Fable in a minute. Well, unless they put into some kind of board wipe, I'm in a bit of a pickle. Alright, they are using mana now, which is great. So they've gone main phase Mastermind, which is sure. The thing about that is that it's the second card on our turn, and theirs. We want this to be blue. We're fairly happy just making these attacks. Seeing what goes on. Once we got the additional treasure, if we resolve a Chandra, we're in great shape. They may be looking to see if they want to try and interact with the Goblin token here. Not yet is the answer. I'm going to put the Mastermind in front of the bus. I think that's pretty good for us. And we're kind of in a position where they have to deal with our stuff. We'll pass, and now we've got big score, and I feel much better about discarding Divide by 0. There's no point going trying to go like Challenger plus to big score. Doesn't seem like good. That's what we got here. They don't know we have the Challenger, but we are under a bit of pressure to cast it sooner rather than later. Okay, well this is interesting. Yeah. I think we have to draw a card here. Alright, we got some more interaction now though, and a bunch more mana. So I think we're in a good spot. The one thing is we don't necessarily have something powerful to do with Chandra straight away. I think I attack with both of these, but maybe lose the real one to the Bankbuster. But the amount of treasure we're getting is a lot. So they're going to choose to crew with the pilot. And they're on 12, to be fair. Alright, and they're going to attack for Sky Thief. This leaves up potential, like, few counter spells. Need to be a little thoughtful here. So we can Chandra minus. We can try and Chandra -2. In which case, like, kill this thing. Yeah. We can actually Chandra -1 and kill these. Maybe better. That stops me able to crew this thing. I think things do start with us casting Chandra though. So we're gonna try and resolve this, and we'll see how that goes. I think this Saneful Strike, which I'm gonna try and divide by 0. I think. I'll grab Expedition. And we can do this. Nope, don't count the Chandra, please. Right, so what I was saying is I think we go -1 here. Do 1 here, 1 here. These Chandra at 4. We'll see they have in hand as well. They maybe just have in hands for the Chandra, but at that point we've got Mascot Exhibition, we've got a Fable, and we'll be able to attack with Hall as well. Ooh, never mind. Not have a Mascot Exhibition. And Fighter is annoying. The token makes a creature they can crew with. That's tough. But not GG yet.
This can't be the end.
Drawing this beat here is pretty great because we actually have some interaction now, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm thinking about attacks. Alright, alright. Children's pretty tough. I think I have to let this resolve. We don't have an actual hard counter for it anyway. I'll let them gain some life. Okay. Yeah, like even if we'd not gone to activate last turn. There are some things to work through, to be sure. We're at 17. This can creep up with this for 8. Taking damage on a draw step. And 12. How does that compare? Going open. You got 3 cards in hand as well. Our cards don't really do anything. I'm gonna go for a storm attack here. Oh dear. Alright. That's tough. This is a nice block. We'll see what we draw. I'm not completely dead in the water, but practically. Let's see. 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 13. Oh, I should play this tap. Oops. Yeah, I think we're pretty dead anyway. Oh. They still kind of have to play it, but... Alright. Fable. Fable versus Shieldred. Not as good as Fable with Shieldred, to be honest. Got an 8th August here. We've just got all the mana to play. Yeah, I'm afraid this one has been done. Alright, back with Majesty. Oh. Yeah, tempo sets in a really nice spot to be up on this deck. Pressure and counter spells is tough. And that keep I kept. Normally I'm pretty disciplined when it comes to mulligans. But I decided to keep that one, so... Game 2 gets pretty hard. This is probably the last match. I'm just so under the weather. I wanted to get a video out this weekend. I felt like I hadn't uploaded much. Oh, I like missed it, yeah. I wanted to get a video up for you guys. We'll keep this. We've got lands, got some other interaction. Got 2 Chandras, just in case one gets thought seized. 1 green. Alright, now this is more... speed. A lot more... speed isn't quite the right way to put it, but this is a deck that the blue-red deck, this Chandra combo deck absolutely beats up on. Very happy to make this appear the Ogre Troll. This, the Troll and Cavalier are quite hard cards for the red deck to deal with. Once we get Chandra down, like this in particular, because it comes down so early, puts them in a point to pressure us. But also if you kill it, they just get a bunch of mana, and it powers Decklist, and it does some way. So, tough one. Later on, we'll be able to either just kill them with Chandra, or be able to like Lang or something. Ooh, that one's tough. What are we grabbing? This should tell us a little bit about that hand. They're getting Talmud scripts. This I was not expecting. I think that's fine. I think in Pioneer, getting Talmud script here is totally fine, but in Explorer it doesn't totally make sense to me. I guess like you think I'm playing Phoenix, but the Make It Disappear should kind of put you off that. Yeah. But obviously, like in Pioneer, like, hey, we'll be working towards a Day 2 Time Treasure Cruise or something. Who knows what? I will see. Oh man. Needle. There. What are we naming? Do they know what's up? Alright, let's go name Reflection, sure. That's fine. Alright, so... with Curie, we don't have a really way to take them off 7 mana. This Fading Hope's not... the Fading Hope maybe is doing something big. The Anger of the Gods combos here. We want the land. I think we maybe do this. We kind of want to big score into Fading Hope next turn. Alright, then again it's a good draw as well. Gonna finish off the Khan while we're here, because that stops us using the treasure tokens. Alright, and we will pay. So, we're on to a Storm turn. We have a negate for it, but We're kind of hoping they don't have it, so we just get to big score. Alright, Cavalier is a problem, but one we'll kind of deal with. Or hopefully not have to, really. That's the actual hope. But hey. What do we hit here? There's a Storm Festival in the graveyard, which they might be able to get to next time, depending on how nutty their draws are here. Great devotion. Okay. Like an elf here makes it plus make 5, and so he untaps, gives them that 10 mana. Which is, yeah, a lot. Alright. We're gonna do our best to assemble something at this turn. Given where we are, can I discard the land? This is hard. The negate stopping the storm is really important, but I think we can hold them off storm by double anger of the gods thing. I'm just trying to think what we need to do that. So if we don't play the land, go back to 7 mana, we can go Chandra plus. Okay. Yeah. Unofficial land, so it gets to keep the negate. I think. Hey, the negate's great. And we're drawing cards. We should draw into land. Okay. Is it worth losing Fable plus? I want to do all the Chandra. We're pretty solid to be winning. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's attack with the token first. Get the treasure. So point in this direction. So here we get to Chandra plus Anger of the Gods and then have a negate. This also stops all the shenanigans with Cavalier Thorns, which is great. Feels bad to be killing RPG, but I think this is fine. Let's go to 7, so if they want to take the turn off activating Lair of the Hydra, we're out of reach. Okay. So I can Lair to attack for 4. For 5. I'll let this go.
Let's get moving.
We'll negate this. Alright. Make sure that both of the gates are targeting the Storm Festival. Okay, so we have Behold the Multiverse. We want to get rid of Kiora. So we're going to minus Chandra to kill Kiora. The danger is the Chandra dying, but we're going to have a token to block a possible potential Lair of the Hydra swing anyway. Alternatively, go off and try and do combo stuff straight away. You can go like try and use plus, but we're actually a little behind on mana now. We sat until the treasure token's off. Don't want to leave the Cure lying around. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy to go -5 here. We'll burn face. Sorry, just mute myself for a second there. Then I'm gonna Fable and tell this for next time. Okay. Again, Alexa, stop. Excuse me. Yeah, I can make this attack here. We will obviously block, keep our Chandra alive. We're in a good spot. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. Couple of cards off. I'm gonna go ahead and discard the island. I think I'm gonna keep the divide by 0. See. Here land here is fine. So I'm on a +2 chance. I've done so many different things. 1, 2, 5, 6. I want to find an Aaron's Epiphany for next turn. Fine. A +1.
Got a feeling this'll work.
That was impressive. Okay. I'm gonna cast this. We get to copy it.
They won't know what hit 'em.
I'll put a Chandra on the bottom. We drew double fire impulse, that's fine. I'm gonna put this might disappear on the bottom for now. Draw another behold. And we have a negate. Okay. In that case, I'll play this and we'll say go. Now we have fiery impulses to deal with the Lair of the Hydra. We have negates to deal with Summer Festivals. And we have the 1/0, which will grab us a bunch of stuff. See what the plan is. I panicked for a second. I was like 7, but actually...
No turning back now.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. Our opponent had a window to turn this off. Our opponent could have sacrificed the Stormwall script to disable spell mastery and meant that we only did 6 damage. So we're gonna count our lucky stars for a second here. I'm gonna +1 again. Again, we're looking for an Aaron's Epiphany basically. Really start going off.
There's never a bad time to improvise.
Okay. We didn't find one. We had a bunch of counter spells. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so still a little bit away because we killed one of their lands. Don't want to look at bouncing this. Finding something to do that's powerful with Fable as well would be good. Do we still have that negate? I'm gonna behold from hand here.
Let's give it our all.
Alright, actually want both of these. And we want neither of these. Didn't pass. So bear in mind you only get 1 spell off of Andrew. Oh, one of the things I note is that the Storm Vessels in the graveyard, they don't go back to hand. They'll get exiled. So I can't divide by 0 the we're not going to use any of these, are we? Unless we want to reset Chandra, which I don't think is worthwhile. Yeah, like legitimately, like 2 damage. Go on, get him.
Scorching hot.
He's a little silly, but here we are. All right, how many cards left in the library? 20. +1.
Come on, Chandra.
All right, we found this, which is what we want. Let's cast that. Yeah, they saw it. Alright, we're not going to get to play it out. Fair enough. Right, games 2 and 3. We want these disable strokes. I don't love the Charlotte Typhoons. The Declasm is an interesting one. I Then later on, Hullbreaker Horror gives you some answers for them going into the late game. If they get a bunch of stuff into play, it gives you a way to kind of get them back off of it and out of it. In terms of what we want to cut, Fire Impulses, Spikefield Hazards. It's tough because the Fire Impulses are mostly just good versus elves, and they have 8 of them in the deck, but you need to be able to answer them if they have them. Other things here. The Divide by Zeros, as you saw, are not great, but they're really good, like, on curve. Later on in the game, they're doing absolutely nothing. I'm not sure about this Hullbreaker Horror plan. I'm trying to think about it. It's maybe too slow. To the point where we've lost the game or won the game. In the middle, if we draw it, it's fine. I think that's just... I'm torn. I'm torn. Sorry, I need to move for a second. Just to... The pollen is doing its work here. Yeah, we have a lot of cards that are good here. The Fading Hopes aren't great. I think I'm going to cut these. They've got a bunch of creatures down to the battlefield abilities. Or they're like fairly cheap, needs to recast. Basically, like, we don't want to be bad to the Cavaliers. It's okay versus some of the other stuff. It gives you some interaction. Elves, we've actually got plenty here already. And then I think actually the cards are cut. It feels wrong to cut Fable, but actually versus green it doesn't do anything. We don't want to tap out, and we don't want to. We don't want to tap out, and it's not attacking their creatures, which puts it in a really, really tough spot. In fact, I think I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to take all the Fables out. Unfortunately, the green deck does have good answers for Start Typhoon and green, but hey. Like a token, positive tempo, pressure planeswalkers. Kind of works. We'll keep this. Lands and interaction. The one thing that's is weak to, I want Elf. We did not see one, which is nice. I'm not gonna. Could like make an untapped Steam. Oh, okay. Yeah. I actually kind of love Invasion Mixed Land and Mono Green. Obviously, don't have Oath of Nissa on Arena yet. And I think if they're going to do a remastered set, they're probably not going to do Battle for Zendikar. They're more likely to do like Return to Ravnica remastered. I kind of keep talking on about it because it's a pipe dream of mine, but Wizards, please get on that. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Absolutely not. No troll. Okay. The Bubbazer is an interesting one. We're gonna shot this event, get it down. Give us access to that. We'd rather kind of like use Divide now, and even though the Make Disappear is slowly losing value as we get later into the game, they have more mana. I think going like Divide by Zero as Time Walk here, we'll be able to Sciences really good. And the nice thing about sequencing this way around is that now we can cast Sciences, play the land we get off of it, and they'll have the Make Disappear available to use as a counterspell. So hey, nice. And the next turn we've actually drawn another Divide by Zero. This is just like getting rematch. Oh, okay. Absolutely eat my words. 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is tough. I'm gonna counter this. Okay, I'll explain why. So this we're trying to stop them getting 6 mana for Storm the Festival. Right? That's fair enough. That bit makes sense. So we want to be able to big score this turn, basically, to go big score into untap Chandra. That is the game plan. They're gonna get to do this, which is pretty tough. But basically, my logic is that I'm not gonna get to cast this Make Disappear if we're doing this. Alright. Fortunately, the green deck doesn't have great ways to trigger the Regisaur on our turn. Haven. Yeah. We have a plan here. Oh, Khan is miserable. Alright. We'll try and do something about Khan. So I'm gonna discard. I don't think we're gonna get to mana for the horror. I'm just probably gonna... Okay, we have an epiphany as well. I'm gonna negate Khan here. Right. So if they have another Khan, we're in a really bad spot. My plan here is to go Chandra, plus make mana. Oh, nice, let's get bleed mana. We're going to divide by 0. I'm going to divide by 0 this. Yeah. And which lets them cast Storm the Festival. Okay. Do I want a teachings? I want to loot. Here's 6 mana plus a Challenger plus a gas there. I'll take this. See what happens. If they have Khan for Picking Needle, we're in trouble. But not out of not to put totally useless, because the triggered ability of Chandra will still work.
Something truly spectacular.
Alright, downside, they get to go invasion and try and find something. Alright, so they've found a Khan. They can down tick. Oh, they've got a land drop? Okay. It's gonna be GG's though. I'm trying to think how I want to use this. I'm thinking like, do I go plus or minus with Chandra basically? We might want to minus Chandra to like kill them. I'm gonna take some extra turns. I'm gonna plus. I think I may as well try and chain them. You can plus 1 server this time. I should probably have done this first. I was thinking that I was actually gonna make mana and then Patel Behold Beyond. So we have another turn after this one. So we're gonna Mascot Exhibition here. Okay. And that's a concede. Right, and that is what the deck is aiming to do. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry I can't record more games. My voice is absolutely messed up. Hay fever is really beating me up. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, please do subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. And yeah, if you've got any decks you want to see me play, let me know in the comments. There's some other sweet stuff lined up for sure.